Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Wanted to do a quick update today. We'll do another PM update later this afternoon. There's not a lot of territorial changes to talk about in the ongoing conflict between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. Now, obviously, there's been more reported deep strikes by both Russian tactical air assets, Iskander and Kalibr long-range missile strikes, in addition to those continued reported utilization of the S-300 air defense system being used as a ground strike system. And again, I talked about that in the previous video. If you had missed it, go back yesterday, watch it, check it out. I again don't see any issue with the using of these air defense systems being repurposed for the ground attack role. And in all actuality, again, there has been prior information put out many years ago even that stipulated the S-300 could be used against both ground targets and seaborne targets as well. And who knows what sort of sensor package and or software update or warhead modifications the Russians have done to some of these S-300s to start utilizing them in a ground attack capacity. Again, there are reported that near Kharkov they were used again within the last 24 hours. But I'd say at this point, as we look at what continues to happen in terms, I'm just going to go back to the first part of June and just kind of move forward as we see the Russian strategy, the change in Russian strategy from the beginning of the conflict to where we're at now. Right now, I think it is starting to dawn upon both the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the United States, Western powers, and more importantly, the Ukrainian armed forces and possibly the Ukrainian political apparatus, that they are dealing with a slow-moving tide that is very, very, very difficult to stop. And the Russians, once they have a set goal in mind and they have established that perseverance mentality in the waging of war, absolutely things could go on for some time. And the same for the Ukrainians as well. They have proven to be a very, very tenacious foe for Russian forces. I was highly dubious of some of these calls by the talking heads within the U.S. Political establishment, and I do believe, for instance, General Milley is more or less a member of the political establishment as opposed to the military establishment. A lot of the decision-making processes and comments that he has made is indicative of what we would define in the military as chameleon activity, meaning he is changing his colors to suit the political party in power, and then obviously that continues. Now, obviously, as we trickle down to the rank and file and the meat and potatoes of the analytical apparatus within the U.S. military, they too probably had this conflict wrong, especially what happened in the north of Ukraine. But again, we are going to have more here in the PM as we continue to watch several different things that are going on. But this is in terms of no major territorial changes. The Russians continue this monotonous drive towards Seversk, and then more importantly, looking to eventually envelop Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, and then move on to Bakhmut as well. There has been some reports that Russians have moved into Seversk. I have not been able to firmly establish that as of yet. There are some reports indicating that the Russians have moved into that city, or at least have eliminated Ukrainian forces in this area of operation, and could be preparing for a move past Seversk at this point. But again, we're going to watch things very, very closely and do another video in the PM as we continue to watch things very, very closely. We are also watching things very, very closely in the Horn of Africa in the ongoing civil war in the former state of Ethiopia. And we were watching some things develop there as well. And again, just to note that because all eyes are on the Ukraine, that does not eliminate that there are some other just incredibly brutal wars taking place on the earth at the same time, and that includes what is happening right now inside of the former state of Ethiopia, and more specifically the OLA as it continues its battles against the Abiy regime and the Tigrayan defense forces in the Tigray region as they suffer this cataclysmic siege in terms of the elimination of food and humanitarian aid that has been cut off from that region. I would say the human calamity is much more significant in that conflict as opposed to this. Fortunately for a lot of Ukrainians, 8 million have departed the Ukraine for Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and other parts of Western Europe. It is simply not that easy for the Tigrayan population, for instance, to just pack up and leave. They can't do that. Anyway, we will continue to monitor, report, and have more very soon. Thanks for tuning in.